Hi there. I am Cindy and welcome to the live stream. Had a couple of technical difficulties, but we're here. And if you are ready to cook healthy meals, healthy lunches, then you're at the right place. Feel free to jot some notes or cook along with me. I'm hoping that these start to become a meal prep session for you if you so desire. So let me know if this time slot works better than the Sunday at 4 time slot, or if there's another time slot that works better for you. Leave it in the comments. And if you have any questions, leave those in the comments and I will try to get to them. If I don't during this live stream, then I definitely will once I post the video. I'll put those in the comments. So here we go. We are going to make a lot of lunches today, 5 different plant-based lunches. And we're going to start with our Asian chickpea burger because it needs to bake in the oven. Now you could air fry these as well, so it works both ways. But we're going to get rolling. So I am using my food processor. You absolutely don't have to. You could mash these with a fork or a potato masher, whatever you've got, whatever works. And I have a can of drained chickpeas in my food processor. To that, I'm going to add a can, or this is about half a cup. This is a very forgiving recipe. You could go quarter cup or half cup of water chestnuts. Now, I typically despise these things, but in this recipe, I really like it. It gives the burger some texture and a little bit of crunch. So they're really, really nice to add to this. And then we're going to add a quarter cup of green onions. I've already just really rough chopped these just for sake of time. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce. Now, I made my own because the amount of sugar that's in the sweet chili sauce is really completely ridiculous. It's almost all sugar. So when I'm going to ballpark this because I can't recall the numbers that I saw, but it was something to the effect of 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce, which is what is needed for this recipe, had about, I believe it was 19 grams of sugar. So that is, that might have been a quarter cup, but regardless, it's more than 4 tablespoons of sugar in that. And it was completely ridiculous. So I made my own, super simple. It took me less than 5 minutes to make. Just to save time for this one, I went ahead and did it ahead of time, but I'm going to put the recipe in the comments, in the description of this video. So don't worry about it. If you want to make your own sweet chili sauce, it'll be there. So, and that being said, you don't need to write these recipes down if you don't want, because I'm going to put those in the description. But if you do want to, that was 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce, and then half a teaspoon of garlic and half a teaspoon of onion powder. I measure both of those with my heart because both of those are my favorites. So, and then just a little dash of, I do liquid aminos, Bragg's. You could do a little dash of soy sauce, tamari, whatever you enjoy and have on hand. And then a quarter cup of oat flour. So when I buy my old fashioned oats, which is what I recommend, you don't want instant oats because they're already processed. And that means your body doesn't have to do any work. So it goes into your bloodstream just like that. And you want to slow it down. You want to keep as much of the fiber as you can. However, when we make oat flour, right, I have disintegrated the oats a little bit, but still, it's at least old-fashioned oats rather than instant oats that have been also pulverized. But I just take out some of my oats. I go ahead and make oat flour, just blend it up in your food processor. That's it. You don't have to buy oat flour anymore. And so we're going to add about a quarter cup. I will measure that. So just a fun tip, because I just go ahead and save the canister from one of mine. Oh, I went way over. And that way I've always got it on hand. There we go. All right, so we're going to give that a little blitz. And depending on how much texture you want, you're going to blend it longer or shorter. You want to probably scrape down the sides. You want to see how wet this is because we do need it slightly drier. So I'm probably going to add a little more oat flour here in a moment. And that's because I added all of those water chestnuts, but that's okay because I want that crunch. All right, I'm going to add just a little more oat flour. So if you can see, it helps when you start the other video, but if you can see the texture of these, I'm going to hold it up. So they're not going to hold a burger shape. That's just what we're looking for, is for it to hold a burger shape. They are going to still be wet a little bit. And you could use regular flour here if you wanted. Let's check on that. Yep, there we go. All right, so all we're going to do is just make those into patties. And you kind of want them the same thickness all the way, right? You don't want a bumpy middle. That way they cook evenly. You could also, if you wanted even more crunch, you could roll these in some panko breadcrumbs, and that would be delicious as well. These freeze great. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go turn the oven on because I forgot it. 1 second while I turn the oven on. 350 is what you want. And we're going to bake these for about 10 minutes and then flip them and go 10 minutes more. That's why they really would do well in an air fryer too. But I haven't tried them in an air fryer yet. If you try them, let me know how it turns out. I just have baked them. And you see, it's going to make a good 6 to 8 burgers, depending on the size that you make yours. And when I serve these, you could just serve them on a bed of lettuce with some Asian additions like scallions, more water chestnuts if you wanted. Mandarin oranges would be delicious on the salad with this. Or if you're serving it as a burger, you know, lettuce, tomato, it's delicious. Hello. Put in the comments what you think would be nice to serve it with. I have a homemade oil-free mayonnaise that I'm going to be bringing out here in one moment. And that would be delicious. That's typically how I serve mine. And then a little more of the sweet chili sauce drizzled on it, a little sriracha drizzled on it. Delicious. So flavorful and so yummy. I ran out of room, but that's okay. All right, let me rinse my hands and then we're going to get those into the oven and then we're going to start making our tuna-less salad. So if you're a fan of tuna salad and you miss it, or you just want a healthier version, hang on. All right, these are going in for 10. Even though my oven isn't preheated, that's okay. It's getting there. There we go. I need to release my wheat berries. These are going to be for later. So I'm going to let those cool off for a second, and I'll show you what the apple wheat berry salad. I'm going to take it to a church potluck tomorrow. It's a phenomenal recipe. Everybody enjoys it. So if you're stuck for recipes that everybody's going to enjoy, that's still healthy, that's still plant-based, so that you can continue to eat the way you want to eat, that's a great recipe. Okay, so we're moving on to our hearts of palm. That's right. Hearts of palm, tuna-less salad. One moment. Now, if you've never worked with hearts of palm, it comes in a can and it is just a little tubular, hello, tubular, yeah, um, vegetable. So it has a little bit of a brine taste to it, so it works great in as a fish replacement. So otherwise, all of the recipes that I'm going to show you, all of the salads. So I'm going to show you a chickenless, a tunaless, and an eggless salad. All of those recipes could be just chickpeas, right? You don't have to have the hearts of palm if you don't want. I'm just trying to show you different ways of making these salads so that you can explore and see which versions you like best. So with the hearts of palm, you could shred it, and I encourage you to do that. Sometimes you're going to get a really hard outer piece. This one's got it. Hear that? It's hard on the outside. So it's going to be hard to chew. You want to find those pieces, and they're fine to put in the salad. Chewing is not a bad thing, but you just want to go ahead and chop those up. And we're going to make this easy and just chop, chop, chop. Now, again, you could do this in the food processor if you want. You could shred it long ways and make it look a little more realistic. Hearts of palm makes a great plant-based ceviche, little vegan ceviche. If you've ever had that, this is a great replacement for it. So let me chop, chop, chop. And these are fantastic salads to have on hand all week long. And like I said, all of the bases could be the exact same. We're just going to change it with a little bit of the seasonings. So you're going to see how just a different seasoning will make this completely taste different. Now, while I'm chopping, because I know you know how to chop, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about why I went plant-based. And there are multiple reasons. But one of the reasons, a big reason, is my father passed away when I was 14 from a very rare blood disease at the time. And it was so rare that he was only like the 15th or 16th person to have it. Now it's so rare that they actually had it on a House episode, if you remember that television show. And since they have now discovered that they still don't 100% know, but they have traced it to E. coli, they think. So that's a problem, right? E. coli, that's meat. My dad ate a lot of raw, well, I call raw, rare hot dogs or hamburgers, steaks, that kind of a thing. And he also, you know, old school, he ate the liverwurst and all of that stuff that some of us probably grew up with. So let me rinse my hands. With that being said, my mom passed away from colon cancer at the age, I believe it was 67. So too young, right? And when you have those kind of health problems in your family, you kind of start thinking maybe you ought to eat a little healthier, take a little bit better care of yourself. So that is why one of the reasons I went plant-based. Now I have a very close relative who just had a colon screening and it came back questionable. So prayers going up that it's just a, glitch on the test, because that does happen. Now you can see I have chopped, back to the salad, the tuna, not tuna, the hearts of palm. Now I need to sharpen my blade. I'm chopping up just some green onion. You can do whatever vegetable you want. but I like a little green onion in my tuna. And you could also put some chickpeas in here as well, even with the hearts of palm, just to give it a different texture if you wanted to. You could, I'm just giving you ideas. You could do some sunflower seeds, you could do some walnuts, some pecans to give it that extra crunch, also to give you some good omegas and a little bit of protein. But I'm not going to today. I'm going to add some celery. Whoop. And this is going to be the base to most of the salad. So celery, onion. You could add carrots if you want. We're just going to go in with that. Now, what's going to make this? Oh, I'm going to go in with a little red onion too, just because I love it. And it adds just such a beautiful color. And it's going to be great in the other salads as well. Just a little slice. So you could make the base of this salad, which again, I'll put in the direction or in the description so that you'll have the base, and then just the day of that you want to take this for lunch or eat it, you could add your seasonings that day. And that way you've got one base salad, but you've got 3 different salads for the week. All right, I'm going to say that's enough. So here's what's going to make this tuna-ish. We're going to add seaweed. Yes, I said it. We're adding seaweed. So this is a triple blend flake. It's organic. It has an excellent source of iodine. So you don't have to buy salt that has iodine in it. It has dulse flavor. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. And sea lettuce. You could just chop up kombu, nori sheets. You could do whatever you want, but this is what's going to give it that really nice fishy, but not fishy kind of flavor. Plus, like I said, it has that great iodine. And I go heavy on it because I want it to taste like tuna. All right. And then to that, I'm adding just a little garlic because, like I said, it's my favorite. And we've got 2 different kinds of onions, so I won't do the onion powder. And then salt and pepper as you want. I'm not going to salt and pepper it because one moment I have my oil-free mayonnaise that I keep. And I just water this down actually and use it also as a salad dressing sometimes. But this is a salad, so yeah, we're going to use it here. And I made this last week, so if you missed that live stream, it's up now, and you can watch that, go back and watch how I made this. But we're just going to add some of that in. We're going to give it a stir when I find my spoon. One moment. Did I put it in here? Okay. I'm sure it's just right in front of me. It is in my food processor. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're just stirring that up. Do you have moments like that in the kitchen? I have more and more. Okay, there we go. So we have a tunaless salad that is crispy, crunchy, but yet soft with the hearts of palm. Delicious, full of flavor, full of good nutrients with that seaweed. There's our 10 minutes. I'm going to give the burgers a flip. Let's bring them out and I'll show you. And then we'll get on to the eggless salad. It's probably my favorite. And yet I really hated egg salad when I ate eggs. Okay. Here's what they look like right now. Sizzle. We're going to flip You got to be a little gentle because they're still a little soft. Not bad. We're getting some crisp. And all you have to do when you want to, if you want to freeze these, is just flash freeze them. Put a little parchment in between each one, put them in a freezer safe bag, and they are fantastic to pull out for lunch. And like I said, sandwich or salad, however you want to eat them. You could just dip them, actually. We're going to go 10 more minutes. You could break them apart, dip them into that sweet chili sauce. It would be phenomenal. Okay, egg salad, eggless salad. So again, the base of this recipe could be chickpeas all the way across. Tuna chickpeas, chickenless chickpeas, and egg salad chickpeas. But because I want to show you the different ways you could use this, we're going to go tofu. This is going to make it high protein. I suggest using extra firm. And actually, I'm going to go dump the liquid off of this. I kind of like using both extra firm and silken. And I'm going to show you the difference here whenever I use tofu like this. So when I do a tofu scramble, I use both, because that's kind of the consistency of an egg when you're cooking it. You get a little bit that turns a little hard, and you get a little bit that's a little soft. And so when I do the tofu like that, that's how it ends up. And it's really nice. It's a nice texture. So if you do the silken, if you've never seen it, these are shelf stable and they're fantastic to have on hand. It will say, this brand is almost always says that it's silken, but you want to look for soft as well. Okay, so it'll say silken and it'll still be extra firm. It's just the way they process it. But you want to use soft, or if you buy a different brand that's not shelf stable, this will say silken tofu and it will be soft tofu. I know, it's complicated. They make it a little harder than it has to be. But extra firm is great to have on hand. Silk is great to have on hand. I'm going to recycle that in a moment. For puddings, for sauces, for smoothies, silk is fantastic. Now, we're just going to break this up. I suggest doing it by hand because you want the craggy crevices so that it gathers a lot of the seasonings. So that's what we're going to do. And today I'm not going to add in that silken because I don't need that much egg salad. This is going to be a lot of lunch for me this week. So, but just imagine that I did add that in. So while I'm doing this, if you want to, let me know in the comments why you're here, what you want out of a healthier eating. Did you get a diagnosis? If you want to share that. Do you have family members that are fighting something where they need to eat a little healthier or maybe a lot healthier? I mean, we're all here for a reason. Otherwise, we'd all be eating ho-hos, right? Because they taste good. But healthy food tastes good as well. And that's why we're here to show you how to make it taste amazing. Okay, so we have our tofu that's been crumbled up. You can make it as small as you want. And same thing as with the tuna, you could add some form of a nut here. You could add some soft cashews that would be delicious if you wanted to. We're going to add that celery, just like we did with the last one. This has been washed. Now, just a knife tip, if you don't know it, most of you probably do. But when you're chopping and you're holding a knife, you want to hold the blade, not the handle. You want thumb and index finger on the blade, and then your hand wraps around the handle. That way you have a lot more control of it. And I have not ever been able to successfully roll my fingers, so I just kind of chop wildly, but at least I'm in control of one hand. Okay, so same as before, you can chop this as fine as you want, as thick as you want. And then we're going to add in that red onion as well. Pretend that I've added in a lot of veg. I'm not going to make you stand there while I chop. But so we have a ton of veg in there. Just pretend whatever vegetables you like in your egg salad. You could do pickles if you like pickles in yours. I don't. Lemon juice, phenomenal in this. Let's see. Let me get a little lemon. And in the tunaless. Well, let's do that. Juicer. And remember, I'm going to show you that wheatberry salad coming up. It is great to take to family functions, to potlucks, picnics, cookouts. I know it's football season, so a lot of people are eating out. It would be a great side dish, or like for me, it's going to be my lunch tomorrow. So it's always good to take something that you're going to be able to eat and be satisfied with, so that you're not tempted with all of the other food that's brought. And you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. So make something that you really enjoy. All right, so you saw I just added in some more of my oil-free mayonnaise. Now, to make this taste eggy, here is two things. Turmeric to make it look a little eggy. You don't want a lot because you don't want a ton of that flavor. And then be careful when you're working with turmeric because it can color, right? Because that's what we're using it for. But it can color a lot of things. Might just add a little more. And then we'll get on to the real star of the eggless salad show. And for tofu scrambles, you don't have to get this ingredient, but I highly recommend getting it. And that is, I've put it in my own shaker, and I'm probably not going to pronounce it right. Kala namek. So it's called black salt. It smells like rotten eggs. Yeah, but it gives it that eggy flavor. And I know this looks like a lot, but it's not. So if you get it, go easy at first, but you're probably going to have to give it another dose because it's not like salt, but it will give it that eggy smell and that eggy taste. And you won't miss eggs at all. So no cholesterol, high fiber, high protein, delicious, lots of good calcium. Tofu is fantastic. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend trying it. Just know it doesn't taste like anything. You have to season it so that it will taste good. All right, so we've got tunaless, we've got eggless, and now last one on these, we're going to make our chickenless. And we are going to go with chickpeas. Finally, we're getting to the chickpeas. Now, I'm going to drain these, and I'm going to save some of the liquid. This is called aquafaba, if you don't know that already, and it's just bean juice. That's what aquafaba means. You can whip this up into meringue. You can use this as an egg replacer in a lot of baked goods and sauces and things like that. So hang on to it. We're going to use it in our dressing for our wheatberry salad. All right, so I have my chickpeas. I'm going to mix those real quick. 1 second, I have to undo my cords and plug in my little hand mixer. Same as before, you could mash them with a fork. You could use a potato masher. I'm just going to zip it with this. 1 second as they fly. Now, be sure that you leave some texture, right? You don't want to over mash these. You want to leave some texture. All right. There we go. And then to that, same as before, you could add a nut, you could add a seed for even more crunch if you want. We're going to do the same because I want you to see you can do the exact same base for all of these. So we're going to do celery and onion. A lot of times I like to add carrot. I also like to add sweet things. So I'll add grapes. I will add dried cranberries. Just depends. Or here's my tip. This is probably one of my all-time favorite lunches. I will put my chickenless salad in a half of a cantaloupe and eat it out of the cantaloupe because I just love that combination. It is so delicious. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of lemon juice. I got to add a little onion because I want it to have that pretty color as well as taste. And we're going to make this fast. So there we go. 1 second. And I'm going to show you what's going to make this so phenomenal. All right. So we're adding in some red onion or whatever onion you like or no onion. And then we're going to do little onion powder, little garlic powder. Now, here's the secret, and I don't have any, which really bummed me out, but it's poultry seasoning. So just add a little bit of poultry seasoning here and a little sage, little, if you want, little rosemary, something like that. But here's what I do have. I have my homemade chickenless bouillon. So I use this for soups and sauces. And so I'm just going to use that to give it that chickeny flavor without using chicken. And then a little bit of our oil-free mayo. So you can see by having just a few of these things, the base salad, your base oil-free mayo, and chopping just a few vegetables, you've got 3 different salads that all you have to do is add a different seasoning to them the day of that you want to serve. Now, would it be better to let it set for 24 hours at least? Absolutely, because the flavor just intensifies. But if you like variety and you don't want to eat chickenless salad, 5 days in a row, then I suggest making the base and then season as you go. It'll be delicious and you will absolutely love it. Okay, now here we go. The burgers are done. I heard them. Let's see what they look like. Yay. Okay. Now they need to cool, right? You can see the steam coming off of them, but they are soft. They're not going to be like, you're not going to have to chew them like you would a hamburger or something like that. But they'll harden up a little bit more as they cool, but they are flavorful. Hello. They're hot. They are delicious with the green onions and the crunchy water chestnuts and then all that flavor. And so I say put them on a bun, slice of onion and a drizzle of some sriracha or more sweet chili sauce, and you've got a winner. You're going to love these. I hope you give them a try. Let me know if you do. Now, yeah, I don't have room. Okay, we're moving on. I got a double glove here because we've got our wheat berries. Now, if you haven't worked with wheat berries, I have to get my strainer. I like them. You have to I haven't been able to find them in a small amount, so I have to typically buy a large bag, as you can possibly see on the edge of my table. I'll show it here in 1 second. Um, they are what you would grind and make into bread, flour. Okay. Now, all I did was 2 cups of wheat berries, 6 cups of water or broth in the Instant Pot for 30. I did 33 minutes. I want them just a slight chew, 33 on high with a 15-minute cool down. So, natural release. That's what they look like. Here's what they look like when you buy them, or when I bought them. Trying to find organic was a little challenging. These are non-GMO. So, and if you need, if I remember, I'll leave the link in the description so that you can find them as well. But you could, if you don't want to buy those, but I do love them. They have a great texture. They are, they're hot. Let's see, they're just little berries, right? Little, and you can hear them. I just need, you need about 2 cups for this, but because I'm making this for a large amount of people, we're gonna go for it. Okay. Now you could use bulgur instead. You could use farro, whatever wheat you like. You could use rice if you wanted to, but this kind of makes it a little bit special. People are a little more interested in it, which is always what you want when you're serving a lot of people. Now, I put my wheat berries in there, but I'm just going to move them to the side because I want to put my dressing in first. So with this dressing, we're going to go 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. You want the one with the mother in it as much as you can. Sometimes these are losing the mother, unfortunately. So look for a good brand. And we're going to use 2 tablespoons of our aquafaba. Here we go. So you just want to kind of stir that up, make sure it's nice and mixed, and add in those 2 tablespoons. It's just going to help thicken it just slightly, not a whole bunch, but a little. And we want some lemon juice. Fresh is always best, but you can use what you've got. And little Dijon mustard. I had to turn it upside down because she's running low. About a tablespoon. I used a little more. And a tablespoon of maple syrup. You could use date syrup as well. Here it is. So this is a nice one to have on hand if you want to use date syrup. If you're opposed to maple syrup, if you're following like the Daniel fast, sometimes some don't like maple syrup. I think God created maple syrup, so maybe it's too processed for some. I don't know, but I like it. Ginger. Fresh is always best, just like with the lemon. But if you don't have fresh, don't worry about it. Use ground powdered ginger. Now I'm going to grate this. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch the whole thing. I'll come back and do more. But you see, that's what we want. We want to just get that little bit. There we go. Okay. Ooh, smells so good. Oh, I love that smell. Okay, a little dash of cinnamon. Right? This is a nice fall salad. That's why it goes really well for tailgating. Just a hint. You don't want a whole bunch. And then salt and pepper to taste, a little bit of water if you need it. Now I'm going to mix it with my little whisk. I love this little thing. We're just going to mix that dressing. It smells fantastic. That ginger and cinnamon is so nice together. Okay, so we have that mixed. Now we're going to make the salad. So we have 2 cups of cooked wheat berries. To that, we're going to add, as I make room, chopped apple. Now, I've got 2 because they aren't super large. I'm just going to put 1 in for the sake of time. But you want to make sure that they are bite size. You don't want really super large chunks of apple. You want people just to be able to get a bite of everything. A wheat berry, all the veg that we're going to put in that as well. I don't recommend peeling them unless you absolutely need to. The fiber and the goodness is in the peel. Use it. Okay, we're going to keep chopping. And I don't know about you, but I like chopping. I find it meditative a little bit. I can pray. I can pray for the food, pray for the people that are going to eat the food, or just think about my day, right? So I kind of like it. It's good to slow down. And so often we are in such a hurry and we want fast food. And it's really good to slow down. And it's good to be grateful for where this food came from, for all of the people growing it, harvesting. It's just a good reminder. And I'll tell you, I just heard something today where they're saying that there's some kind of a fungus or spore or something that's killing off bananas. And I'm just like, please don't kill off bananas. But the problem is that we have, not us, but humans have bred them to just like one specific variety that sells in the grocery stores. And so it has become susceptible. So there's still other bananas out there. We just don't usually import them or grow them here. So hopefully they'll figure this out because I got to have bananas. I don't know about you. All right, we're going to add celery to this. So imagine I chopped up both apples. We want this to be probably about not quite half and half vegetables and fruit and half wheat berries, but you know, a good consistency, 3/4 at the most. Have that 3/4 wheat berries. You don't want the whole thing to be a wheat berry. This is a great salad to serve at Thanksgiving. You could make this with wild rice instead. It would be phenomenal, but wheat berries are fantastic for Thanksgiving as well. Okay, so to this, some more red onion. And remember, people eat with their eyes. So when you are making these dishes for your family, if they aren't on board yet, make them beautiful. And if you are serving this to people who don't understand why you're eating this way, make it beautiful. And it will taste good. When you have these beautiful colors in the food, it will taste good and they will be attracted to it. Just think about all of the food that is in the grocery store, the things that we call food, cereals, and all of the colors that are in those. Why would they put those beautiful colors in that? It's because we're drawn to beautiful colors. Speaking of, we're going to put some dried cranberries in this as well. So about half a cup of dried cranberries. Now, when you're buying dried fruit, you want to try to get the ones that don't have sulfur. So you want it to just say, you know, organic cranberries typically is what it says. Organic raisins, unsulfured. That's what you're looking for. We're also going to add nuts to this. Now, I'm going to add pecans. You could add whatever nut you want. We're going to do about half a cup. And then my recipe calls for parsley. I am not a fan of parsley. So just like some people don't like cilantro, I adore cilantro, but I sure don't like parsley. It's just super overpowering for me. So you could add it and it would be phenomenal if you enjoy parsley, but I don't like it. I don't mind dried, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some dried parsley to that dressing. And then I forgot to get out my salad, but that's okay. You know what a salad looks like. We're going to mix this all together. So you can see what I'm saying. It's about, I'd say 2/3 and 1/3, something like that. I'm really not good at equations like that, but there you go. So I'm going to add even more fruit and veg to this before I serve it to my church family. But this is what it looks like. Serve it up. I'm going to mix in arugula. So you get that little bit of bitter greens with it. You could put it on a bed of lettuce. You could serve it just as is if you want. But that arugula is really nice because it counterbalances kind of some of the sweetness from the salad. You could also roast, if you're going to do this for Thanksgiving, you could roast some butternut squash or some sweet potatoes. It would be amazing in this salad. Okay, so we did it. We have an Asian chickpea burger. Let me grab it. It's cooling up now. And they've hardened. You can see they have hardened up. So we have our Asian chickpea burgers. We have our chickenless chickpea salad. We have our hearts of palm tuna-less salad. We have our tofu eggless salad. And we have our incredible wheatberry apple salad. So you've got 5 lunches that are going to keep you satisfied and happy. And I believe and think that everybody you serve these to will enjoy them and love them. So let me know if you give them a try. I hope you do. And if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, add a comment. I'm going to come around and look at your comments. Erla, she's been plant-based since 2014. She changed because of her own health and family health history. I have a family history of cardiovascular issues as well as diabetes and obesity. Yep, right there with you. I've got the same thing running through my family, and if it's not cancer on one side, it's heart issues on the other. So more power to you, Erla. Keep it going. Yep, we got to keep eating plant-based. Okay. We're going to call that a good one. And again, I'm going to put the recipes in the description once I get this posted. It'll probably be tomorrow. I'm hoping. We'll see. But I do have another video coming out tomorrow. So be sure and look for it. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll talk to you later.